Hi, folks. You must be confused and amused by Iran and US war ceasefire discussions or talks. It hits your hip pocket and your well-being in future too. So you are very, very concerned. So let's talk about this ceasefire situation and how it will go. Iran had always said that Iran does not want to create or enrich uranium capacity to use for nuclear power arms. They have got a fatwa from their leader which has never been rescinded and still not been talked to for a resignment. Iran has always said that they want the nuclear enrichment program for peaceful purposes. They are trying to be independent of the fossil fuels. America had asked for it in Obama's time, and there was an agreement which was being supervised by the nuclear non treaty agreement team. So, when the ceasefire talks were about to start, Iran had said, we will not talk about nuclear enrichment program. Their ceasefire can be discussed only on the condition that the bombing should stop immediately, that includes Lebanon also. So Trump sent a team. Now, guess what? Who was in the team? Three persons were to represent the team. They were Hexer. He is a Jew and he is a very well organized member of AIPAC and donates to them on a regular basis. Then J.D. Vance, who has got some diplomatic understanding, better than the other two, but he sticks with the fundamental provided by Trump. Well, that we'll discuss a bit further down. And third is Jared Kushner. Who is he? Another Jew, a supporter of Israel, a Jew who calls Netanyahu his uncle. His family is fully busy in funding and creating resettlements in the occupied area in West Bank and Gaza. The question is, do you think America is using the right representation for something to be resolved, which has got international issues? The representation of US is basically a complete adversary of Iran's position. So what's the use of having a talk? So it was bound to fail. In my previous discussion, I had mentioned and I had requested Iran to do whatever is possible for the peace, but please keep your dignity. And that's what they did. That long 16 hours discussions took place. The first person to be removed was an army commandant. Iran did not allow him to sit in a talk because he's a armed personnel, and they are not putting our person. They were. It was a diplomatic talk and not an army talk. Now, Trump has been saying that they have won it and they got what they wanted. So why they put that all that naval blockade now? Nobody should be able to go in or get out of that strait. Iran has said that nobody, no ship can walk through, and the only ship that can walk through that strait should pay them a kind of a toll fee, and oil should be paid by in yuan, right? The Chinese currency, and they can go. If they can show these two things, they can go. To counteract on that, now Trump has placed a naval blockade, not just outside that, but in the international waters, which are not the territorial waters of Iran. And they want nobody to go in or come out of the strait who has paid any type of toll tax to Iran and who has paid any money to Chinese banks. That means if they have bought the oil should have been paid in US dollars and not in Chinese dollars. What does this create? They haven't created anything significant. The losses are more impactful in US with this war than Iran. Iran had been suffering from the blockade since 1979. America has banned their trading, everything, and controlled, put pressure on every other nation so that they should not trade with Iran. So Iran is not getting impacted very hard, although they are getting impacted. Their livelihood, their living standards are going down, but they will survive. The question is, will America survive? It is the survival of Trump. Next elections are not very far in US, and people are totally disgusted with him at the moment in US. The world is disgusted, that's something else. But he is worried about his future. So now he says that within 2 or 3 days, by the end of this week, they'll start the ceasefire negotiation again. Now think about it. How will it work? And what he's saying, while he's saying that they will start the negotiation again, is that not only the uranium enrichment program should stop, but all the currently enriched uranium should be given to US. Then only some ceasefire can be extended, can be talked about. Do you think Iran will do it? They spent more than 15 years in creating that enrichment, and they are going to give it free to US. Unless Trump finds a way to remove these basic conditions demand of uranium, negotiations are not going to go anywhere. And Trump has to find a way to save himself. That's what we have to see. The important part is that the people who are going to represent US in the ceasefire negotiation should not have any base or prejudice or favor of Jews or Iranian or Israeli conditions. If they go with the precondition, the talks are going to fail. They have to go open minded. What can be salvaged of the current situation, which creates a win win situation rather than I win and you lose? Something has to be thought about it. The US must recognize the world has changed dramatically in last 2 months. The opinion and the understanding of the world to be subservient to US has been demolished. European Union is thinking of its own benefits since being aligned with US is not going to help them. Asia has already started talking about it. Japan, Korea, China already said that. The only country which is left who is still in support of US in Asia is India. India is part of BRICS, and now India has to be careful that they should not lose their space and goodwill within the BRICS. That is something else we'll talk sometime later, another top agenda. But the whole thing is that the world is turning, is changing dramatically. US have to start disassociating and supporting Israel with everything and anything. Then only they will be able to negotiate a ceasefire. If they don't think like that, then we know what's going to come. Let's see. The ceasefire is going to end. Then what happens? One thing is for sure, US cannot afford to put foot in the Iranian soil. It will be worse than what they found in Iraq. Let's hope that the person with practically no rationality known as Trump wakes up or is pressurized by the US forces not to go further in the war situations. Let's see. Leave your thoughts. They would be appreciated. Thanks.